Greetings, teachers! Have you ever needed your digital students to collaborate outside of a Teams meeting? Well, this video is going to show you how. With this technique, your students can collaboratively complete, mark, write, type, or even draw all on the same documents. And the best part is that this can be done outside of a normal Teams meeting, meaning that it can be used for projects, class small groups, or even as part of their homework outside of normal school hours. Or you could even use this to get your in-class students to work with your digital students at home. So let's jump in to learn how. To begin, there's a few things that we're going to need to set up in Teams first. As you can see over here on the left-hand side, I'm in my announcements channel, and I've directed my students to go check out their group channels. And just below, I have a group for my apples group, my kiwi group, and my oranges group. So the first thing you're going to need to do is make sure that you have individual channels set up for those different groups of students. To do that, we're going to click on the three dots next to our team's name, and we're going to come down to Add a Channel. This lets us type in whatever channel name we need. If we start it with the word group, that means all of our group channels are going to be grouped together for us on that list of channels on the left, making it easier for your students to find them. Now, some people have asked a lot about the privacy and if they should make these group channels private. Our recommendation is to leave almost all of your channels set to standard. This makes it easier for students, and you don't have to double manage their access rights in order for them to use a channel. Now, if you do have a need for the content of a channel to be absolutely private and hidden from other students, then that's when you would turn this into a private channel. But for the most part, unless you have a very specific need for that, we just recommend leaving things set to standard. Once you've named your group, all you have to do is hit Add, and it will show up on your list. Now, since we have these built, let's take a look at how I've set these up, because this is the key to getting your kids to work collaboratively outside of a meeting. Let's jump into our apples group. You'll notice that I have two different posts here. Let's expand this top one to take a closer look. This is the group work for the apples focused on math and science. And it looks like they have a PowerPoint attached here. This is the key to getting your kids to work together. When we create a post like this inside of a channel, not only are our students able to reply to that post and basically have a conversation, but all the students are able to open the attachment and work on it at the same time. That's the magic. Let's see how this works. All right, now that I've clicked on it, you'll see that I'm still in Teams, but this is open to the PowerPoint slide that was attached. So it looks like I have an editor open. And the cool part is, not only can I flip through my different slides over here, but I have edit rights already. Additionally, up here across the top, I have some ways to communicate with the students I'm working with. For example, I have my conversations already open. And if you notice on the right, this is the post that I gave my students with all the directions, which they could still see if they need it. But this also gives them a place to reply and have a conversation about what I'm asking them to do. Now, what are students able to do to edit this? Well, let's take a look. First of all, they have full edit rights to this document. So I would have a conversation with your students about staying on task and following your expectations. Now, what can I do? Up at the top, I'm going to go to the Insert menu, and I'm going to come over to Text Box. So you could preset these up if you wanted, but your students are also able to insert a text box if needed, and all they have to do is click to type. Once they click in there, they could type in an answer. So for example, 69 would be my answer. And if they needed to, they could even position this in the correct spot to show their answer. But what if you needed them to show their work? Well, just putting in an answer wouldn't do it. So what they can do is come up to the Draw tab, and this is the key. In here, I can grab a pen and immediately start writing. And the beautiful part is the fact that a lot of our students, if they're using one of our district student devices, even have a touch screen, which means that writing on the touch screen for the student means that they can just use their finger or a stylus. So in this case, they can even work out the math problem so you can see their thinking. Pretty fancy. And another benefit to this system is the fact that because this is in PowerPoint online inside the team, all their work is automatically saved. Now, I did this work, but what happens when a second student opens this exact same document? Well, let's take a peek. I happen to be signed in as another student on another device who's doing their work with a stylus. What happens? Well, as they complete their work on a different browser, you get to see their work show up right alongside yours. So it doesn't matter how many of your students happen to be logged in, they can all work on their own space at the same time and still maintain the chat over on the right-hand side. And it looks like that second student just posted a request for some help from their colleagues. But now let's close this work. So I'm going to hit close up at the top and take a look at some of the other things that you can do in here. That happened to be a math assignment that was done in PowerPoint. But what happens if we give them a different type of document? Well, right up here, there's some reading and writing work. Let's take a look at this graphic organizer that happens to be a Word document. You'll see that this opens up in an editor that looks very much like the common Microsoft Word that everybody's used to using. Now, because we are using the online version, we have to be careful how we design our Word document. You'll see here that I created a single column table with cells in order to direct my students on where they can type and to give them space to type. But just like with the PowerPoint, our students are able to click in and just simply start typing their answers. By creating a document using cells like this, when the students need more lines, when they press enter, it simply moves down the page without changing the sizing of the cells, which is really nice. And just like with PowerPoint, multiple students can work and type in here at the same time. And over on the right-hand side, so long as their conversation up here at the top is open, they can see the original post and directions and continue their chatting back and forth. The nice part about any chatting that occurs here is that all of this is linked back to the team as well. So if we click close, and look at where that post went from our math assignment, you'll notice it was just a reply to your original content, which means as the teacher, you can see and have a record of everything your students do in here. It's a really nice way to have your kids work together and for you to be aware of what they're doing and if they're on task. So, a couple quick things to point out. Number one, what type of documents can I put into an assignment for my students to collaborate on? Well, because this is part of the Microsoft Office suite of programs, anything that's Microsoft will work. So you can use Microsoft Word and PowerPoint like we did in our examples here, or you can use Microsoft Excel. However, if you put a PDF as an attachment, they're going to be able to view it but not edit. So just be aware of that. And finally, because they're working together in teams, there's a record of everything they do and chat together. So you as the teacher can stay fully aware of all the work and collaboration going on. Hopefully, this gives you some great ideas on how to get your kids working together.